great thrill above liberation, the boundless field of merit, wrapping ourselves in Buddhist teaching, we feel all living beings. And though I thus liberate countless beings, not a single being is liberated. There we go.
Incense chat.
Precepts incense, liberation of views incense, cloud of lighted incense pouring into the Dharma realms, offering to the highest teachers of the 10 directions, I respectfully bow to the altar of the incense cloud. Bodhisattva. And it is a little bit too warm, so I think I'm gonna set the situation up so we can get some air in here. Give me a second. Now we can leave this door open so we can get some air.
Would you care for the food?
Maybe it is getting a little intolerable. The heat. Sorry, we're on our room here is on the south side, so it gets a lot of the sun. It gets really hot.
Oh, don't worry.
Thanks. So yeah, with the fan in the window, we should be able to pull some of the AC from other rooms in the house.
chant of compassion.
We surround all forms of life with infinite love and compassion.
Especially do we send out compassionate thoughts to those in suffering and sorrow, to those in doubt and ignorance, to all who are striving to attain truth, and to those whose feet stand close to the great change called death. We send forth all wisdom, mercy, and love. May the infinite light of wisdom and compassion so shine within us that the errors and vanities of self may be dispelled. So shall we understand the changing nature of existence and awaken into spiritual peace. The refuges.
I take refuge in the Buddha.
I take refuge in the Buddha.
I take refuge in the Dharma.
I take refuge in the Dharma.
I take refuge in the Sangha.
I take refuge in the Sangha. The five precepts.
I take up the practice of not harming living beings.
I take up the practice of not harming living beings.
I will not take what is not offered.
I will not take what is not offered.
I will not misuse sexuality or sensuality.
I will not misuse sexuality or sensuality.
I will practice gentle, truthful speech.
I will practice gentle, truthful speech.
I will not deal in nor misuse intoxicants.
I will not deal in nor misuse intoxicants. The Buddha Sarangamagata. True nature is free from all phenomena which are illusions by causes created. Phenomena neither rise nor fall, but all phenomena are flowers in the sky. when set upright, tying and untying from the same cause arise, while the saintly and the worldly are not dual. Consider underlying nature at the point of meeting, where both is and is not cannot be. If you disregard it, you are in delusion. If you awaken to it, you are free at once. 6 knots are untied one after the other. When 6 are undone, one vanishes as well. To the sense organ that is all penetrating, to enter the holy stream and attain Bodhi. Old habits, though like and sin, alliance, subtle consciousness, since the real yet unreal can create confusion. I have refrained from revealing it to you. If mind be set on searching for the mind that which at heart is not illusion, becomes illusory. If you stop all grasping, then there is nothing real. If what is not illusion ceases to arise, where can illusion be? This is the profound lotus Dharma, the precious Bodhi of the royal gem, the samadhi of seeing all things as illusion, which in a finger snap leads to the
we ringing the bell like this? Maggot. Maddie gets very distraught when she can see Robert but can't get to him. Have you ever noticed that when we're deciding what's important, we're deciding what to do, maybe we're thinking about our day or the next thing that is on our to-do list, that the thought usually comes up with a structure of, I need to do this next because X, Y, and Z. I've started to notice that it that sort of thought pattern is not always the best. It's not always the skillful thing to encourage. In the practice, of course, our decisions are guided by the 5 precepts, by the moral, principles that are stated in those 5 precepts. So, of course, the things that we do should be measured against that, and they should, we should take those things into consideration, not causing harm. That sort of structure. But beyond that, when we're looking at what do I need to do next, I've noticed that, at least for my own practice, when I tack on that reason, that because that maybe it's an or else, I need to, I don't know, paint my bedroom because I'm redecorating. I need to trim the grass because I'm worried about ticks. I need to, I don't know, feed the dogs because they're hungry. And when we think about everything in terms of needing a reason to do them, in terms of maybe having a consequence if we don't do them, I've noticed that it feeds aversion. Because I've noticed within myself that the reasoning allows me to avert to taking responsibility for my own decisions. So I know that was kind of a lot to unpack, and this is not normally the path I take for Dharma Talk, so I'm trying something new, but this is something I've been thinking about this week. So, like, let's say I want to repaint this room. I might go into it saying because it would be nice for it to be a different color, because we're going to repurpose the room for something else. All hypotheticals, right? And then I might go into picking a color. And then I might grab the supplies, and then I might come back and maybe not want to do it. And I found this is a pretty common problem, that we enjoy planning things more than we enjoy doing things. And that because statement, I want to paint the room because I'm redecorating, either prevents us from being able to see what the best decision is for ourselves. Maybe I'm averting to wanting to paint the room because it's too much for me, but that because statement turns into an ultimatum, a measure of success. But also that, like, the stark contrast that I see is without that because statement, I'm not as confident in my decision to make that choice for that activity. I mean, we haven't painted since we moved in. There are still spots that are unpainted, and I'm sure that if we had a reason to paint, we would paint. Not saying that these activities are good or bad or right or wrong, but just saying, noticing that our motivation can be tied to why are we doing what we're doing. And I think that you can see the contrast based on people around us. Like, let's say you're painting and someone comes over, or someone comes in the room and they go, "Oh, it's so cool that you're painting." You know, then all of a sudden you can see that maybe your feelings turn into, "Yeah, I want to paint. Yeah, I'm doing a good job. You know, I'm gonna make this space so much better." Or maybe you don't take care of your lawn, and someone comes by and says, you're gonna you're gonna spread disease. Or not necessarily if that's true or not, but just a hypothetical, right? And then you go, "Oh, well, I need to go and I need to take care of that now." And it's, I guess, less of a emphasis on needing a reason to do things and more of an emphasis on that we're seeking that external satisfaction. We need a reason to do it so that other people see that it's valuable for us to do. And in turn, we project that back onto ourselves. And so, like, I found for a little while that I would have trouble deciding what to do. And, like, let's say it was after work or on a weekend or something, and nothing, everything was equally as pressing, or nothing really needed to happen right away. And so I had this free time, and a lot of people struggle. I've noticed a lot of people have started to struggle with being able to relax, being able to pick something to do and stick with it, and just stop thinking about the choice. And in this day and age, we have so much to choose from. It can be really overwhelming. So how do we navigate choosing what to do with our time? And a lot of us have fallen back onto this purpose-driven, what is your why situation, where everything has to be productive. Everything we do all the time has to be for the benefit of some kind of goal, to get somewhere better in life, the grind, the hustle. And Not saying that that's a bad thing, because our practice is inherently only looking to, looking at our thoughts for what is productive and what is not productive. And I think that it goes beyond the point of skill level when now we need everything to be productive because we're averting to the quietness of not needing a reason to do everything. And I think that it comes from, I'm observed in myself that can sometimes come from needing that external validation, being afraid of being caught doing nothing, needing someone to say you're doing a good job. And so it becomes a reliance on that external reason in order to get satisfaction from the task we're doing. It makes a big difference, when you get encouragement. And that should be an indicator that the reason you're doing what you're doing may be unskillful. Because our well-being doesn't come from that satisfaction. Our choices should not be made based on whether it's, productive, whether it's successful, whether it's working towards achieving a goal. While those things have their place and they can guide us, we shouldn't let them consume the entirety of everything we do. And, I use the painting as an example because to me, painting is probably the least productive thing I could think to do. It's like, why would I need to change the color of my walls? Like, what's the point of that? That works towards no goals. It's just a preference. Apart from needing to seal a surface or protect, something from weather, painting is frivolous. I don't know if that makes sense. But so when I look at my thoughts associated with painting, the thought of spending time and money doing that sort of activity, I can clearly see where all my other thoughts are being measured. I mean, the constant chatter of, is this worth doing? And really what we should be doing, as people that are practicing Supreme Bodhi and practicing Buddhism the way that we do, we should be using the 5 precepts as that structure, using the goal of self-improvement and what is skillful and what aligns us with path of Supreme Bodhi and of watching our thoughts, because it's more about our thoughts than about the activity. Using that as our compass. And then once we know where we're going, stop thinking about it. And I think that this is a really important distinction, because in a lot of modern self-care, a lot of modern meditation, mindfulness, we're encouraged to constantly be thinking about what we're doing, be focused on the task at hand. And I think that will be very detrimental, because now it turns into this narration of, I am sitting here, I am doing the dishes, I am painting the room. And our focus is not on needing to produce thoughts in order to be present. our practice is quiet mind. Our practice is being able to do what we're doing without needing to think about what we're doing. So, I mean, you have all of these pieces that go together to create this thought, and looking closely at the thoughts, looking closely at where the thoughts might be coming from is all good and well. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's just a map. It's just a map to say, like, I need to paint this room because, and I'm noticing that because statement is something that's similar in a lot of my other thoughts. And so I'm going to watch for that because statement, and I'm going to actively resolve that because statement, resolve that thought. And beyond that purpose for looking into this sort of thing, for this whole conversation, it is about being able to know when to go back to quiet mind. Right? It's about watching for these things so that you can know, okay, this is skillfulness and this is beyond skillfulness. It's about being able to reflect on our practice, and reflection shouldn't happen all the time. Reflection should be something that, that we do occasionally, because it's not about, oh, I stopped that thought, now I'm going to reflect about how that affected me, where I am in my practice. Did I progress? Did I not progress? That's not what this is about. Reflection is important because it tells you that, it's a recognition that you're going in the right direction or not. And it's something you can bring to the Sangha, to your teachers, to get guidance and to have that fellowship with each other. But ultimately, what we should be going for is quiet mind, is supreme Bodhi. So whether I paint the room or not, I either decide to paint it and I paint it, or I decide to paint it and I don't paint it, or I just don't paint it at all. I can still be in supreme Bodhi. I can still make that decision not to paint it or to paint it, regardless of what's happening, regardless of what people think I should do, regardless of the externals of satisfaction of people saying that's a nice color, you have good taste. And I can cut off those ties to reliance on others, on externals. And so just something that I've observed over the past several weeks is needing a reason, clinging to that reason, and then either using that reason to avert or using that reason to get satisfaction because being praised. And so just watching those little nuances, because it is important to be aware of your thoughts. It's important to be aware of them so that you can actively identify those thoughts that are unskillful, so that you can have a targeted approach to your practice. And your practice doesn't always have to be targeted, but it is helpful in rooting out these knots, untying these knots. It's helpful to identify these places that need improvement and then watch out for them. And it's always a constant effort that we make all the time. And so that concludes my Dharma talk for today.
Closing Gata. let me respectfully remind you, life and death are of supreme importance. Time passes swiftly, and opportunity is lost. Each of us should strive to awaken. Awaken, take heed, do not squander your life. Offering of merit. May the merit of this penetrate into each thing in all places, so that we and every sentient being together can realize the Buddha's way. All Buddhas throughout space and time, all Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, wisdom beyond wisdom, experience supreme Bodhi.
All right, that concludes our service for today. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.